Carbon dioxide is made as a waste product by cells, and blood helps to transport that carbon dioxide from the tissues to the lungs, where we can breathe it out. Now, to facilitate this, blood has three important mechanisms to move carbon dioxide around. First, a small amount of carbon dioxide is dissolved in the plasma, which is the liquid portion of blood. We get 3.15 milliliters of carbon dioxide in 100 milliliters of blood. This works out to be about 5% of the total carbon dioxide transported by the blood. Now, another 3%, or about 1.89 milliliters of carbon dioxide in 100 milliliters of blood, is transported a second way. Carbon dioxide binds directly to the terminal amino acids of each of the four globin chains in a hemoglobin protein. Hemoglobin is the most abundant protein in the red blood cells, and each hemoglobin can hold up to 4 molecules of carbon dioxide. When hemoglobin is bound to carbon dioxide, it's called carbaminohemoglobin. Now, carbaminohemoglobin has a slightly different shape than hemoglobin, and it has less affinity for oxygen, and this is called the Bohr effect. This leads to slightly more oxygen becoming unbound and getting dropped off in tissues full of carbon dioxide. And this causes a shift to the right in the oxygen-hemoglobin dissociation curve. But the majority of carbon dioxide, about 90%, or about 56.7 milliliters of carbon dioxide in 100 milliliters of blood, is transported a third way, which involves turning carbon dioxide into a bicarbonate ion, or HCO3-. To get there, carbon dioxide first undergoes a chemical reaction with water to form carbonic acid, or H2CO3. As a weak acid, carbonic acid easily dissociates into hydrogen ions and bicarbonate ions. And these reactions are reversible and can happen in the opposite direction as well. And while this reaction can also happen in the plasma, it's sped up in the red blood cell by the enzyme carbonic anhydrase to produce a large amount of HCO3- and H+. As bicarbonate ion levels build up in the red blood cell, the bicarbonate ions start moving down their concentration gradient and flow into the plasma. The shift in charge this creates is balanced by facilitated diffusion, an ionic exchange between bicarbonate and chloride, called the chloride shift. So chloride comes into the red blood cell as bicarbonate goes into the plasma. And here bicarbonate plays an important role in maintaining physiologic hydrogen ion levels in the blood, which ultimately affects pH levels. Alright, as a quick recap, there are three ways for carbon dioxide to move around in the blood: dissolved directly into the blood plasma, bound to hemoglobin as carbaminohemoglobin, and chemically modified and dissolved in the plasma as bicarbonate ions. These processes of carbon dioxide being picked up in the tissues are all reversible in the lungs, and this leads to carbon dioxide expiration.